It's a question for the men. You paying for the babysitter? First date, second date? Is that something that makes sense to you? Personally, I think it screams entitlement, and being upfront, already entitled to my money, my time. That seems a little ridiculous. Let's get into this.
You know what it takes for a woman like me to go out on a date? I gotta get a babysitter for my kids.
Okay.
Should a nigga pay for that?
Yes. Because guess what now?
I gotta pay for the kids that you made prior
Yes,
to
because
me.
guess what now? A part of me is my kids. And in order to take me out.
Dating!
Right, that's part of dating.
You're making an investment for a relationship. So,
And that's why
and I shouldn't have to pay for your when you invest in
I'm
your
not
company.
saying every day. I'm saying, okay.
No date. Unless we're in a relationship, that's when you can even feel like I should be adding on.
I should be paying
I
for
wouldn't even
stuff like that.
A man that's for me, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They know that, okay, she's a mother of two. She's holding down a business. She's holding down a house. She's commuting from Jersey to New York. All right. How much is your babysitter? You know what it takes.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. Even the way she phrases it, talking about holding down a business, holding down a house. So you have money, right? So it's not a material thing where you can't afford it. It's just there's this expectation that I'm entitled, and of course you should do that. The last part is what I really want to focus on. That someone that is for me will do this. I think that's a funny thing that is pervasive in the conversation, right? Not just this conversation in general. That the man for you is going to do all the things that you require, even though some of your requirements are swimming in delusion, right? The guy that's for me is going to accept everything about me, exactly how I am. Sometimes relationships are a good indication of or a good opportunity for us to improve, right? If you as a man have trouble with communicating, you're not emotionally in tune, in touch. Yeah, you know what? You can probably get feedback from that, from what went wrong in a relationship. So in that gap, in that interim, when it's time to do the work, that's one of the things you do. So, all right, I need to improve because I don't want to potentially mess up my person, if you believe in that, because I couldn't communicate. There, statistically, right? Because we like math here. There's more women on the planet than men. And let's say everyone was eligible, everyone just could pair up. There'd be at least 2 to 3% of women that, would just end up alone. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but we're talking 3% of, 8 billion. Now it's statistically significant. So when women are saying stuff like the guy that's for me is going to understand that, well, the guy that is going to understand that is probably in your DM, and you've been ignoring him for the last 7 months, right? Every morning he gets in there and he talks to himself. He sends the same message: Grand Rising, good morning, hello Queen. Let me just take you out. Let me take care of you. Send me your feet pics, right? There he is. But you don't want that guy, right? That's not the guy for you. But that's the guy that's probably willing to accept everything about you as is. Someone that's born in desperation, someone that you could never envision yourself with. This is the truth of it. If you want a man to pay for your babysitter, to the men, that's just indicating, okay, you're here for my resources. And most men don't want to be taken advantage of in that way. The whole thing about being a gold digger is ubiquitous in our society and something that men are constantly on the lookout for, right? Or, they ain't tricking if you got it. If he's just willing to pay for that, then cool. That's your guy. That's your guy. Forget everything else about him. Forget the gap in his teeth. Forget the yellow teeth. Forget the dress. Forget all this. Forget the lack of ambition. But he's willing to put up with whatever you got going on. That's your guy, right? But you want all these things in this guy with the most envisioned elite prince charming that you've ever met, right? Like I said, like amongst my friends, you want Ghost, right? You want Ghost. Unfortunately, Ghost doesn't exist, right? So if you're waiting for some guy to come along, willing to pay for your babysitter, willing to pay your way, cool. Then you better kind of get on. You got to get on his program because that type of guy doesn't really exist out there.